Hello, this is Future Will, who's editing the vlog. I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer that this is a Shorty September vlog. You'll watch me discover Shorty September as the vlog goes on and give more descriptions about what the readathon is all about. And you'll just watch me be a little bit oblivious in the start, but commence vlog. Hello, welcome to another reading vlog. I wanted to do another reading vlog about short books because through Sean and Bert past story time I discovered Shorty September, which I didn't know about. I just finished reading Our Share of Nights, which is like a 700+ page book, and I was like, damn, I really need to finish this month on strong with some short books, just because, yeah, I set my goal for reading 70 books this year, which I thought was doable. It's not a lot, but I'm like 12 books behind schedule or something. So we're gonna read some short books over the next 2 weeks. Yay! So right now I'm at ARC Books, which is like a volunteer bookstore that I volunteer at in Copenhagen, where I live. I have a bunch of short books, but I'm going for the shortest of the shortest. Really honing in on the short part. I don't know who started Shorty September. I was like trying to figure it out. I think there's like prompts, but I think I'm just gonna get inspired by the movement and just read short books. The movement. The political movement of short books. Gosh, I thought someone was coming in. But it's rainy today, it's not very warm, and that's why I feel free and open to filming the bookstore. I was browsing some books to see if I could get some short book inspo, and I found this little sliver of a book that I was like, oh my god, what is this? I picked it up, I saw the cover, and I was like, oh my god, I am getting this, and I'm about to tell you about the book. This is the bookstore, by the way. Super cute. Whoa, adorable.
I feel like my camera's been struggling to focus lately. Cute ARC mug, which is not ARC, the ARC mug. It's just a mug from ARC. I brought a book with me to read, but I found this one. Look at that cover. It's so tiny, I can barely see it. It's called Reindeer, exclamation point, many times, a dozen exclamation points, by Never Angeline North. And the cover just spoke to me, and I was like, what is this? The back sounds bizarre and strange, and I'm into it, okay? So I'm gonna read it to you because I read it and I was like, what could this possibly be? Reindeer, a dozen exclamation points or something like that, is the story of a woman who lives in a coffee shop where she makes a job out of loving people while inventing worlds in her dreams. The coffee shop is staffed by a barista cum border guard who people show up to stab every week. Later, the narrative channels 18th century Jewish folktales as she's told a bedtime story about two queer lovers who are themselves then told a dreamlike quasi-erotic tale of a pagan prophet without a home. In this way, narratives eat each other and turn inside out as stories are found within stories and new adventures are told by unexpected rainbow bears that are also mountains, and pages of journals are found papered inside the nests of vomit birds. I understood like maybe 25% of that, so I was like, I need to read this. I need to know what it's all about. So this is one of the books I'll be reading this vlog. The second one is also a book that I found in ARC. It's called We Are Made of Diamond Stuff by Isabel Wadner. I started reading this like the first 15 pages or something a long time ago, and I was just confused, and I think these are gonna have a similar vibe. But these are also both very short. Excited to read it. I have less confusing books on this TBR, but since we're working today, I'm gonna do some computer and iPad stuff, work on my comics. I am determined to start a cheesecake blog for funsies because I love cheesecakes, and I wanna do little cheesecake reviews of all the cheesecakes you can find in Copenhagen. From achieving my productivity booster of last month, like getting all my little stars for all my little tasks, I got like a new iPad case, and I decided to get it with a keyboard. I know, and it was so cheap. So I'm so excited to write on the blog now, just so I can use my iPad keyboard. So let's do that.
So high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right.
Okay, we are home. Still on the first day of this vlog. So, in front of me, I have essentially collected all the books that I have that are under 200 pages, which I consider to be a short book. Especially when we're going for short. Now, not all of these are contenders for what I'm going to read during the next 2 weeks, but I thought I'd just talk about them because I want to. I have excluded all my classic sci-fi, like the Kurt Vonnegut books and stuff like that, because even though they're short, it's not going to be super quick for me. So here are my contenders. We're already established I'm going to be reading these two weird short books in this video. This one I haven't really explained yet, but I'll get to it. So yes, then I commenced to talk about every single short book that I had. And yeah, it was a very long clip, very boring content. So I just kept in the clips that I thought was relevant for this video. And that's why this section is chaotic AF. But yeah, I decided to keep in some of the footage. If any of you are interested in the short books on my TBR. Actually, I ended up reading this one after I finished the vlog. It's pretty solid. Swimming in the Dark. I should have picked this up when I got it. I started reading it, but I wasn't feeling it. I'm not a huge fan of historical fiction, and that's why I've been hesitant, even though I did choose to pick it up. And this one, I'm also more than halfway through. This is Bang, Masturbation for People of All Gender and Abilities. It's like this short little pamphlet type of nonfiction. But I wanted to do a reading vlog where I finish all the books that I've already started. So I'm going to say no for these two. And then we have We Will Not Cancel Us, Adrienne Marie Brown, who wrote Pleasure Activism, right? Probably. This is just also like a pocket book type of deal. Also tiny text, but it's a tiny book, so I'll allow it. So this is what we're aiming for in this video. And these are our maybe options. And these are going to have to wait for another time. Unless I end up being like a super quick reader, but I doubt that. I'll check in with you when I actually have something interesting to say or I'm doing. Central Station. So today's Friday, 2 days later. I finished this book. Surprise to no one because it's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. It took me 3 days to read it. But yeah, I think the back, what I read to you essentially explained it. So I don't want to go into too many details, but it's fever dreamy in a way that makes sense and it's very silly, not scary. It's just about this woman who works at a cafe and all these strange things happen, and then she goes through a door and other strange dreamlike things happen, and then she gets told a story, and then we follow that story, and then within that story someone else gets like told a story, and then we follow that story, and then they find some diary entries, and then we get told that story. So it's like story within story within story. And I think some of the stories are like inspired by Jewish like myths or folklore or something like that. I really enjoyed it. I highlighted like a bunch of things, especially in the beginning, just because like there were so many things that were
like cute or strange and just wonderful. Like, I enjoyed reading this so much. And you know what I particularly enjoyed was reading this before going to bed, because it was very much like it was playing a movie in my head where I could see everything that was happening, even though it was like so bizarre and seemingly random, but not really. And so when I was going to bed and going to sleep, I was like picturing the last thing or like setting of what I just read, and it was just so peaceful and brought me like so much joy and calmness. And I have been having trouble sleeping like last year, so it's just been like blissful sleeping transition reading this book. It was meaningful. There was a lot of like things you could have read in like into it. It was just so silly and meaningful and just like great in so many ways. I think I'm gonna give this like 5 stars. There's definitely things I would have wanted to be different if it was like my personal taste. Like, I would have loved it if the last story kind of connected it to the first story, so there was like some circular storytelling going on where it's like, this leads to the beginning character that we follow. But it doesn't really do that. Maybe it does that and I'm just not picking up on it, which is like super possible. But I loved it. As soon as I started reading it, I'm like, who ordered this book for ARC? Where did they learn about it? No one's answered my message of the ARC volunteers. And I saw on Goodreads that Amanda has read it, which I'm like, I really need to start watching Amanda's videos again, because I definitely want to read more like this, but I'm not sure if I would love it as much, just because this is very specific to like the story for me. But I highly recommend it. It was really fun and life lesson-y and goofy and just great storytelling. Also, the author like plays with different ways of writing these stories, and I got a little bit obsessed with this author and like tried to do as much research as possible. For what I could gather, it's a trans gay woman who lives with her partner and their blind dog and her girlfriend's boyfriend, and I just got really like interested in this author. Cannot find her on Instagram, but I was like, wow, I need to read more stuff by her. And it's just so cool to find a trans book in the wild. I love it when that happens. It was just perfect. It was just like peeking out through the shelves, and I'm like, I have not seen this in the bookstore before. But maybe I should read you something, because it's just, I lick my armpit and taste the salt. It tastes like dolphins. I pull the sun from my mouth and give it to myself. This is purely symbolic. The sun was mine to begin with. The dragon has a giant dick and also is farting, which I draw as a little poofy cloud with the word fart next to it. It takes up most of the table. Also, there's this part in the beginning, which I think the beginning was definitely my favorite part, where the person she's working with, the barista, he has a badge that says badge, and he points to it whenever someone's like doing something wrong. He's like, badge, badge. And he builds like a fireplace in her mouth, which she gets like really annoyed about. But I mean, it's just so many stuff like that, but I love it. I want more recommendations like this, but like not like this, but like this. Doesn't really make much sense. I also finished this one. I said I wouldn't really talk about it because I didn't write it up as a book I would read for this video, but I started this a long time ago, but I only had a couple pages left, so I just decided to just go through it. It's a book about masturbation. It's like a pocket book. So it says on the front, Bang, Masturbation for People of All Genders and Abilities by Vic Liu. This is good. It's very much a pocketbook, so it's very brief on everything that it talks about, but it's also fairly inclusive. I think there's one chapter or like essay about someone who's like in a wheelchair and like talks about how you kind of like ask for space and time for like masturbating like with your caretaker. And I felt like, for example, like with that essay, it was very much like written for people who would need this advice, or like other people in wheelchairs or like with physical disabilities. So I liked that about it. And there was also like part for like specifically for trans people and masturbating and gender dysphoria. And I also got a tip about a sex toy that I got because I was like, oh, I haven't heard about this. I did already know about muffing though, because I read about it in Any Other City, and at that point it was new to me, so I did a lot of research on it. I still feel like a sex baby when it comes to that sounds very, very inappropriate, but learning stuff. But this was like, yeah, very brief. I would like a book that explores this more and is less binary. Even though it's trying to be very inclusive, I think it's hard to find research and data that's like not based on like the binary sex
characteristics and genders, but solid. I also want to talk about my trip to Malmö. So I got a tattoo of like a cheetah with a life goofer outfit, my drag character, as kind of like a into a chapter thing. This tattoo artist that I've been following for a couple of years, who lived in Amsterdam, recently moved to Malmö, and I was like, what is the coincidence that it's like just across the bridge from Copenhagen? And so I just had to take the chance to get a tattoo by her. I'll insert a picture, I think, because I can't really bother showing you. But it's really cute, and I'm very happy with it. But we also went to the Page 28, the queer volunteer bookstore in Malmö, and I got a book. I will show you this book. It's called Even Cowboys Get Blue Balls, Queer Smut Stories by S. Park. Who am I? Who am I become? So it was short, and it's short stories about male erotic, short stories. Sorry about the camera. Sometimes I look at a cover like this and I'm like, surely this is not good. I don't know how into male smut I will be, but I guess we'll find out. I'm open to trying something new, hence why I got this. Now I'm gonna catch up on the new Fiona and Cake episodes, because I started watching it with my friend Cami, who you saw a lot of clips of when I went to Malmö, but we haven't had the time to like catch up and watch it together since. So I have some catching up to do watching Fiona and Cake, and I'm so excited. It's so good. Yeah, can't wait to watch it. So let's do that. Yes, let's go.
Team has designed software allowing anyone to create and share their own.
Whoa. I'm good, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like this?
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's horrible.
What is horrible?
My filming.
Wow.
Now that face is in fashion.
So I just finished the second story in this, and what can I say except that smut, maybe not for me. I tried it, and I'm not gonna say this is the only one that I will ever try, because that would be very unfair to this book and the genre. But it's not the worst place to dip my toes in. I feel like speculative is maybe not the right word. They're kind of more like supernatural, like demons and werewolf-like, or probably like vampires in the future stories, something like that. And they're just kind of like cheesy in a way so far, playing with like submissive, dominant type of things, like, but so far like inverting those stereotypes, but still using that kind of, I think maybe that's just like not my thing. It's not cringe, is what I will say. It's just, I'm not really getting the ooh ah ah sensation. I wish at least, hopefully, in the future of this book, there is at least one character that's trans. It does say on the cover, queer and consent. It does focus a lot on, like, consent, which is great. But I wouldn't say the book is very queer, you know? Queer isn't just LGBTQIA+. It's not very diverse in the queer male-male romance spectrum. I hope that makes sense. But I'll finish it. I'll keep reading. I'm reading very slowly, as always. It's kind of difficult to do reading vlogs when I read this slowly, because then it's like most of my days just me doing my day, and I read maybe twice if I'm lucky, you know, which does make it a little more difficult. I'm gonna head over to a cozy party now with my friends, and I'll probably check in with you tomorrow.
When you take the cover off, it's also got a lion underneath as well, so it's really tiny.
So it's the next day, and the reason why I haven't been filming much or like showing you everything of my life is because I've been doing the dishes, I've been doing laundry, I just finished emptying the bunny toilets, taking out the trash, a lot of like domestic stuff that is just not fun. I haven't been reading a bunch. This is at work today, and I ate so much yesterday, my belly was just like a ball, so I only had a banana and coffee for breakfast. So it's lunchtime, and I'm gonna make some noodles because I was watching one of my old vlogs. Yes, I watch my content constantly because just like I get in the mood for reading by watching other book content, I also get in the mood of reading watching myself read stuff. Sounds a little self-involved, but hey, what can you do about it? So yeah, I'm just making some simple noodles. I also read one more short story in the sexy book yesterday. I think maybe it's just not for me. I think they're all sort of like similar. It's not very diverse in like the types of sex they're having, with the dynamic, with the story in general. It's possible this one's just not for me, but I'm thinking like, what do you want out of like smut literature, right? And I feel like the main goal is to be somewhat turned on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that is why one reads it. And I just feel like I need more than that. And also it's not doing that for me. So I'm like, not really enjoying it. I don't mind reading it, kind of, but I'm not excited to pick it up. I think I'll just keep reading one story a night. It's fairly short. I'm more than halfway through. What else is there? I also read a little bit in Brown's book, We Will Not Cancel Us. It's a very long introduction, but it's essentially like a collection of essays that she posted on her blog, kind of revised into this little pocketbook. I took it with me when I had to go and buy hay yesterday. I was reading it on the bus, and it's perfect because it fits right into my old man fisherman outfits. I've been told I'm the best at dressing like an old man, which I wear like a compliment. So what is happening today? I'm actually going to start reading an actual book, because reading these like short parts of like We Will Not Cancel Us and the other one I can't remember the name of, it's just like, it doesn't get me into reading, because it's just kind of books I want to pick up every now and then. So I'm going to read something that is not short stories to get me into the reading mood. Also, I feel like I might mention this because I feel like I've been talking about it in my head with you. I feel like I'm so stuck up. Like when I watch my old reading vlogs and I talk about my feelings and I'm so open about what I'm doing and I'm just like filming from every angle, I'm like, yeah, it's a little chaotic. Mind you, I'm aware. But also I'm like, wow, this Wilma really freed their mind and just filmed whatever. And now I'm like a little constrained, I feel. Is that what being in a relationship has done with me? Is that what being not booktube active has done with me, that I've lost touch? Perhaps. So be a little more patient with me with that. I'll get into it. For now, let's eat and then read. Wow, I made this sad meal so fancy.
What's up, punks? Welcome to video.
You know what I mean? The soup is really good though, cannot lie to you. Remember, food is fuel for the revolution.
So I'm on page 69 out of this 109 page book. I decided to read one of the novels that I've kind of picked for this video. And I picked this one up because I started it a long time ago and it was just too weird for my brain to wrap around. But it's like very easy to read, and like, easy to read might be the wrong description, but it's like quick to read, I guess. But I'm way too smooth-brained to really understand everything that goes on in this book. It's very bizarre, and I think if I just like let go of my need to understand things and just read it, I understand the entirety of the story as more of like a concept rather than take everything that is said in the book for face value. I'm gonna read the description of this book. So this book, it is We Are Made of Diamond Stuff by Isabel Wadner, British non-binary author. It says, polar bears emerge from t-shirts. Rebooks come to life. Nothing is normal in the house of Mother Normal. In their second novel, Isabel Wadner blends critical writing and fiction with anarchic joy. We follow Shay, a character who looks like 11. Oh my god, I didn't even realize. So Shay is the main character, but also it's written from like a third person? Who's the third person? I was fully convinced our main character was not Shay. Wait, I'm so confused. Maybe this description's wrong. We follow Shay, a character who looks like 11 from Stranger Things, but is 36 years old and who works for minimum wage in a rundown hotel on the Isle of Wight. This is a fiction that extends the avant-garde tradition beyond the upper-class experience that it usually chronicles, making it over as an ally of working-class queer experience. Set against a backdrop of austerity and decline, We Are Made of Diamond Stuff is an irreverent, boundary-erasing piece of work, celebrating the radical potential of resistance, ingenuity, ingenuity, and friendship. I don't think Shay is the main character. I think Shay is the main character. Well, now I understand the third person description of the spec. That kind of changes things, doesn't it? I hadn't really realized. It's quite strange. They work at this like hotel and all these weird things kind of happen. But I guess it's written like from a third person that I thought that is like the I character, or they're writing about themselves like in third person. But they're talking with Shay as if this person's someone else. I don't know. You see, you kind of just have to like let yourself experience it rather than try to understand anything. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this today because it's fairly quick and I would like to just like not really get it over with, but gain some momentum in my reading right now.
You'll need to complete at least 2 looks each, but if they're not good enough, I will pull your model and...
So it's the next day. I have been to take blood test today, and I have a little My Little Pony Band-Aid in honor of the first time I went there, and I got a My Little Pony toy. Also to celebrate, I got myself a cheesecake for my cheesecake vlog, and we find some very interesting information that we tried a new cheesecake place and took takeaway, and that place actually supplies the cheesecake for another place that I already written about on my blog. So that was very exciting news. This, I'm so soon done. I did not finish it yesterday, like I said. It's very political, centered around like British colonialism, and kind of like the effects that has on like the working class people, I guess, and like the political situation and how they like in a way suffer because of this. And so it's very mixed between bizarre things that keep happening of like jumping from place to place. It says like the main character is Shay, but that is not the same character as the I character, you know? I don't think it's the same person. I think I did a bit of a leap in my head there. So it's mixed with a lot of like important political stuff. I've been told it's very British by the Goodreads reviewers. And just a lot of things are happening where I'm like, they're jumping from different locations, different weird things are happening. I don't understand all of it, but I'm just like here for the ride. I'm gonna read you my favorite quotes. According to Shay, protest, not poetry, has the transformation power of a dino's digestive tract. I produced my most substantial piece of creative writing to date, the online application form, for residency, that is. No reason why our leopard shouldn't exist in a vertical dimension. A vertical dimension, seriously, is nothing sacred? Parentheses, parallel. And this one was the last one. Imperial rhetoric tends to work. Such is Imperial's hold on British psyche and reality. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of info dumping, and yet it works. I finished it. Very glad I read it. It's very anarchist and queer, and although I did not understand everything this book was trying to say, I felt it, and I definitely want to check out more by this author. And I'm gonna give it like 4.5. Really enjoyed it, but I think if I understood just a tad bit more, even like with the political climate or like certain references, I would have given it 5 stars. I thought it was great. I recommend it. It's very strange though, so be prepared.
Connections.
Been waiting for. This is the announcement for Shorty September, which is coming up very quite soon.
In September?
In September.
Yeah.
Big, epic, chunky books. And for you, like a short book could be like 300 pages and below, or whatever you feels comfortable.
You can make the rules
You
yourself.
make your own
on that
rules.
one.
It's just
Yeah.
short. I think you did 31 actually.
I did 31,
Yeah.
so you could read, both me and Heather the year before did
Yeah.
a book a day.
By asking me to host it with him. In a nutshell, we're reading the shorties. We're reading all the shorties.
So here we are after doing some research. I finished the book, Even Cowbots Get Blue Balls, yesterday evening. And I'm gonna give it like 2 stars. I didn't mind reading it at all, but the stories were just so unimaginative in many ways. I definitely think the last story redeemed itself a little bit because it kind of incorporated the supernatural sci-fi elements into the actual nature of the intimacy, which I liked because it's like, why are you gonna make a story science fiction fantasy and then not use the power of the science fiction fantasy element to enhance the smuttiness of the book, you know? Like, when I think about like smut stories that I would actually want to read, I think of, you know, the first story in Slug and Other Stories where the main character has sex with a slug. I thought it was hot. And I want more of that type of weirdness. And I don't know why I expected more from a book called Even Cowbots Get Blue Balls, and like with that cover. But I'm glad I read it. It was kind of like a random surprise pick. But I was like, okay, what do I need to read next? Because I'm kind of tired of reading short books. I want something more substantial. And so I decided to figure out who created Shorty September, where are the prompts, maybe I can get inspired by the prompts. Little did I know that it was actually created by Bert from Past Story Time. And I was like saying this video earlier, I was getting inspired by them for this video, and I just didn't know. And where have I been for the last 3 years? Not on BookTube, apparently. Together with Heather, which is a new channel that I need to check out on how to make the scene with all the prompts. And I got so excited when I heard about the scene because I haven't told you guys about this yet, but I got like an obsession with scenes like a couple of months ago and got so many, and I want to do a separate video of that because I got so excited by the concept. It's like scenes been around for ages and I'm just like, wow, what is this thing? But anyways, and it super cute graphics. I love them a lot. And then here you can write in all the books for each prompt. So I'm definitely not going to finish all the prompts because I just decided to do this for the last 2 weeks of September and not the whole month. But I thought I would try it. It's a wonky little scene the way I put it together, but I think it works just fine. I'm very excited about this. So I'm going to tell you about my thoughts in accordance to the books I read, the prompts, and what I want to read next. So these are the 4 books that I have read so far in this readathon. Kind of cheated a little bit with this one because I already started it, but these 4. And then I'm going to finish this one throughout this week. And then I have a potential of books that I am kind of up for picking up. I'm going to go through the prompts and tell you what I'm thinking. For spandex, a book with magic or witchcraft, I would probably go for, I mean, it could be this one. It's not really witchcraft, but it's fantasy. But I think I'm going to go for this one just because it doesn't really, it's not directly magic, but the surrealist nature of the story kind of fits the prompt, I think. Hoochie Daddy Shorts, spicy read / revealing gossipy biography. I'm going to show you these. Aren't those great? So for this prompt, I mean, I have to go for this one. I could also go for this one, either one, to be honest. And then Shorty Shorts, 70s or 80s book. And I was a little bit stumped with this one. But then I noticed that I had this book, Slapstick or Lonesome No More by Kurt Vonnegut. I haven't read a Vonnegut book in a really long time. I think I read 2 of his books, and I really enjoyed both of them. So I was thinking maybe I could pick this up. It's fairly short, and I do feel like picking up something just a little bit longer because the shortiness of these shorts it's a little not what I'm in the mood for, I guess. And then we have this prompt. It says, half and half shorts. Read a book, then watch the movie. Probably not going to do this one. I'm just going to skip it. That's okay. Then we have Mom Shorts, a comfort read. I don't know what that would be. None of these are really comfort reads. Maybe actually I'll pick up this one. I mean, you're thinking, is it really comfort read? I think reading about politics and stuff that reaffirms a lot of the things you believe in brings comfort. So maybe I can pick this one if I just bend the rules a little bit. Ripped Shorts, a mystery or slasher, kind of stumped. I don't know what to read for this one. Then we have Elizabethan Short, a historical read. So for that one, I was thinking, it's a little bit longer than what I read so far, but this one, Swimming in the Dark by Tomasz Jedrzejewski. It's not really historical, but it's written like a couple years ago, I think. Yes, it's written in 2020, and it takes place in the 80s. Yes, 80s Poland. So this, I would count this as historical. I thought maybe this was translated, but it's not, which complicates the next prompt, which is Lederhosen, a translated book. Also don't have that. I don't think any of these are translated. Pedro Pascal Shorts, an unexpected purchase. This could literally be so many of these books. Not something I usually read. This was definitely like an unexpected purchase. I just saw it, you watched it happen. But this is definitely the one that I feel like is most out there for me. Very out of character for me to pick this one up. I'm doubling up because I need to like actually get some of this done. Dolphin Shorts, a book with water on the cover, which is also why I think this go for that one. Lodge Shorts, a book you bought because you were trying to look cool. I don't know what this book would be, to be honest. I don't know which one of these would I bought because I was trying to be cool. Maybe I'll just skip that prompt. Denim Shorts, a modern classic. Maybe? Maybe? I don't know. So those are just like my reflections. I think I got it narrowed down to these two because I can fit them into multiple prompts. And then that will be like my reading for the rest of the week with this one. And then if I finish this, that's a really substantial reading vlog for little me. So that's the update. I'm so glad I looked up this information so it didn't look completely stupid and ignorant about Shorty September, but I'm really excited about this now. It really helps because I was clueless on what to pick up next.
You're filming places. Just a little bit.
Are you filming me because I'm beautiful?
I'm filming your titties. How are you feeling?
A little overwhelmed.
Why?
I was talking with my dad.
Do you want to sit on the bed and tell me about this comic you're gonna read?
So I was looking through the booklet of prompts and stuff, and I really want to complete as many as possible. And I don't have like any book to movie adaptations, but then I remembered I have this comic. I wasn't planning on, what was it called, reading any comics, but Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and I have not seen the movie. I'm really excited to finally watch it. It's kind of like a must-watch. And I think I could read this either before or after watching the movie, to be honest, because I think it's probably like a different story within like with this character. But I'm gonna read it first. It's been a while since I read a comic. This is fun. Okay. Alright, I finished Elvira, and it was fantastic. I feel like a lot of times when I pick up comic books like randomly, I just never have a really good experience when I don't know them from before. And I know the character Elvira, and I know the person Elvira, but I haven't seen the movie, and I feel like I need to. So I'm really excited to watch the movie, and this was excellent. It's very close to a 5-star, if not a 5-star. The story flowed smoothly. She was so funny. She was breaking the fourth wall all the time. Maybe a little bit too much, because it's funny if it happens a couple of times, but then if it gets too much, then it kind of loses its charm a little bit. But yeah, she was just so funny, and all these crazy things happened to her where she was like exported, and what is it called when you travel? Transported. Transported into the past with all these like horror writers like Mary Shelley and Bram Stoker and some other characters. And it was really fun, and it was like well written, like follow everything, and the script was great. So I'm so excited to watch the movie now while eating some quesadillas.
That's our show. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did. Oh boy, I mean, could you believe that cheesy looking monster? Looked like Gumby on steroids.
So yesterday, I'm working on ARC today, by the way. Yesterday, watching Elvira, great. I loved it. It was so good. I cannot believe I haven't seen the film before. It was excellent. Excellent. I love camp movies. And I don't know why I don't seek out to watch them more, because it was so great, so funny. I have no critiques. I love Elvira's character. She's great. It was just so good. I loved it. So a surprise of this vlog was me reading Elvira, which I didn't think would be a good comic. I was just mildly interested. Bought it a long time ago, picked it up, watched the movie because of this vlog and the prompts, and it was excellent. Loved it so much. Definitely want to like watch more camp movies. Like it's called I'm a Cheerleader. Loved that one. I cannot believe it's not more famous. Also, obviously, like Rock or Horror Picture Show, love it. If you have any recommendations for more camp movies like that, let me know, because I love them all so far. I've been reading a lot in Swimming in the Dark, and I'm not liking it. It's just not for me in so many ways. It's very much written like, I feel like I'm going to talk shit about this book, but I might as well because I don't like it. It's like very just regular contemporary books, kind of bland, to be honest. I feel like it will appeal to a lot of people. Well, there's a reason why easily digested literature is popular. It's just very cheesy in like a subtle way. Like there's this one part where he compared like freckles on someone's skin to like star constellations, which is literally something I did in a poem in school when I was 14, and my teacher critiqued it for being too cheesy, so I changed it like freckles like rocks on ice or something, pebbles on ice, because my English teacher thought I could do better at 14. And comparisons like that, it just makes it a little hard for me to get into and really feel it. But like I think if you feel the metaphors and allergies, this book will be for you. It takes place in like the 80s communist Poland. It's about these two boys that can't find each other, but they do have like different beliefs in capitalism versus communism type of thing. Our main character wants to escape, feels like capitalism is like a more fair political system, and the love interest, he's like, you just have to work with what you got, kind of. And it's sort of like these two characters who are essentially in love with each other, but have such opposite political views. And I think that's well done, and I enjoy that part of it. How difficult it is when someone close to you believes something that's very different from you, because it feels more personal, you get more mad, even though this could be like the widespread opinion of something. Or yeah, so I like that part of it. I'm just not really, the romance part is not really doing it for me. That characters are not like fleshed out enough for me, to be honest. It starts off with like the main character telling us what's happening back in the 80s in Poland, and now he's like in New York and has escaped or whatever. And I'm just not really a fan of like that type of storytelling format, because he's telling it to us kind of. In the beginning, it's sort of like Brokeback Mountain vibes. It said it's been compared to Call Me By Your Name, which is a book I have not read and do not intend to read because I do not think it's for me. So those are the updates. New season of Survivor is happening tonight. This got me into it. We're going to watch the first episode of season 45, and we've created our fantasy leagues and guesses of who's going to win. And it's fun because we make a little game out of it with points and stuff. I'm really excited. So it's Burger Thursday and Survivor, a little tradition for us. So I'm excited to get home. Have not sold a single book today. Wow.
Dean Drew.
So today it's Friday, and my best friend from London is coming to visit today, because we're going to go and see a dance performance by another friend. And now I'm doing laundry. I've done laundry, and I'm going to fold all the stuff and things. I also yesterday finished this book, Swimming in the Dark, by Tomasz Jadrowski. I feel like I've said that a lot now. This was not for me. It's one of those books where I don't even say I'm glad I read it. Did I get something from it? Sure. I learned some things about Poland. I got to feel some feelings, which is not bad for a book, to be honest. But all in all, I just feel like I could have lived my life without reading it. Yeah, that's kind of like the worst feeling, when like you might as well not have read it, kind of, because if you even, I don't know, at least I got something out of it. I was gonna give it a 2-star just because I really wasn't vibing with it. But then the ending happened, and I felt something within my chest. I'm like, well, I can't give a book 2 stars where it gave me some sort of feeling. That would just be like disingenuous to star ratings in general. So I'm gonna give it 3 stars, maybe 2.75 on Storygraph. Just very flowery, not in a good way. It had some subtext, but it was neither vague enough where like you had to like dig and read between the words, or like in your face front enough where like you felt the message. It was just kind of in between in a way that didn't really appeal to me. Yeah, kind of sad ending, just meh feelings. So that was that. I will take note of it and try not to read like similar stuff in the future, because I think also when I picked it up, it was sort of like a random buy. I kind of knew that it wouldn't be for me. And then I was supposed to start this, which I didn't. So now I have to read this in 2 days because it is how many days does September have? 31 maybe, so it's the 30th today perhaps? No, it's the 29th today. I guess September has 30 days then. So I have to read half of this today, which is like 90 pages. And I don't know how quickly I'm going to read Monica's writing. I also found this podcast through Sage. I think they posted about it on his Instagram about this podcast called Gender Reveal. And there was I'm really bad at doing 2 stuff at once, like talking and doing laundry, and folding laundry. And they had an episode recently released, the latest one, that was an interview with Alison Rumfitt, who wrote Tell Me I'm Worthless. And I didn't include this in vlog. I read this book in the period of when I didn't include it in a vlog. I didn't include it on YouTube. I haven't talked about it at all. But I loved it. It was so good. It was the type of horror I can read. It was just like very in your face, and I loved it. I thought it was excellent. And Alison's coming out with a new book, 10th of October, called Brainworms, and I love the American cover. I'm definitely going to pre-order it. I am entering my full horror era because I'm going to be reading more horror books in October, which I'm really excited for. And I've listened to that podcast, and it was great, and I'm glad I found a new podcast. I'm always looking for podcasts that appeal to me because I've tried quite a few, and when a podcast is not right, it's like, ugh. But when it's right, it's like favorite podcast, new podcast. So I'm excited to listen to more stuff of that. They mentioned that they had like a podcast episode where they interview Gretchen Faulkner, which wrote Manhunt, which I have read, and I would be interested in listening to that one too. I'm going to read after this. That's the update. Hello, it's the next day and the last day of this month, which is exciting. I haven't finished either of these books. We Will Not Cancel Us and Slapstick or Lonesome No More. My goal is to finish both of these today. I'm sure I will finish this. This, I'm a little doubtful, but I will take it with me. So today I'm going to a Barbie staff party at ARC, and we're going to go visit the Barbie Museum. And I could just dress up like Barbie Ken vibes, but I want to go for something that gives off Barbie in a different color scheme, maybe, or like, what's his name, the friend that there's only one of, something A, maybe, and Andrew, I don't know. But yeah, this is my outfit. They're like pants like this, and I'm not sure this is also cool, but I'm gonna bring the vest because it makes the binder do its thing a little more. Slapstick or Lonesome No More by Kurt Vonnegut. I'm really enjoying this. It's silly, it's fun, it's just like, yeah, fun to read. And I like that for me right now. It's quick. Also, the chapters are super short. Thought I'd read more books by Vonnegut, but this is only my second one. I only read Slaughterhouse 5. This is definitely less difficult to get through. It's like a little bit of a lighter subject, but it also says in the prologue that It's the closest book to a memoir that he's ever written. So there's a lot of inspiration from his personal life that it kind of like explains in the beginning. But other than that, it's like pretty bizarre. It's like a kind of post-apocalyptic New York where there's not a lot of people left. And we follow like the president of the United States who lives in the Empire State Building with his granddaughter, and everything's kind of like grown over. Gravity shifts like from time to time. He's very tall, and he tells us about his upbringing with his twin sister, how they grew up in a rich family and they were super smart when they were together, but when they were apart, they were both super dumb. But they pretended to be not intelligent their whole life growing up because that's what they thought was expected of them. So it's like fairly dark story, like at certain parts, but it's like funny and witty and just like silly to read, kind of. Definitely there's like some ableism or like possibly racism stuff, but what can you expect, kind of. Other than that, it's just like fun, easy. Yeah, so I'm excited about this. Haven't read any more about this. I have to get going now, and hopefully I'll just do like a last little clip tonight, doing a wrap up maybe tomorrow morning. I wish I could take you with me to the Barbie museum, but I'm gonna do my regular life stuff. Yes. Hello friends. So it's actually the 1st of the month, 1st of October, and I want to tell you first a little bit about yesterday, because we went to the Barbie museum. It's not like a huge museum. It's not like something they made for Barbie film. This is literally like an old woman who's been collecting since the late 80s in her basement. All the windows are like shut from the outside, and there's just walls and walls of Barbie dolls in the basement, and it's so like cramped, like packed in, and the ceiling is low. There's 3,000 like dolls on display, and then she has like 800 more or something that she can't fit in there, and it was not what I was expecting. And I'll insert some footage because I was just like amazed. And then she was telling us about all these different Barbie dolls, and it's just wild. Like she has Cher, she has like the collections from like different lingerie companies, or like collections from designers, or the first dolls, and like different shoes for all the dolls and buttons. And she was telling us all about this stuff. It was amazing. Like if you ever come to Denmark and you're like slightly interested in this, like I highly recommend checking it out. It's kind of outside of the city, but wow, it was just nothing like I was expecting. It was awesome. I finished all the books that I said that I would finish, which is excellent. These are all the books that I read. This is just the scene. I'm very happy with this. I didn't think I would read this much. It's a lot for me in this time. I finished, I feel like I didn't talk about this, Slapstick or Lonesome No More by Kurt Vonnegut. I'll give this like 3.5 stars. I actually really enjoyed it, and you can kind of like choose to read it by interpreting everything, or you can just choose to read it for the enjoyment of it, which is kind of what I did. I didn't feel like analyzing stuff or things, but you can. I think this is that type of book, but I just liked it for its silliness. I do think that with some books that are a little bit more random in like the synopsis of the book, once you get used to like the silliness of it, it kind of becomes a little bit boring. I've had this like with a couple of books. Now I can't remember which other books I'm thinking of. But all in all, like I enjoyed it, and I thought I mixed up Philip K. Dick and Kurt Vonnegut. Very embarrassing. And so I thought I read more by him, but I only read Slaughterhouse 5, so I'm excited to have read another book by him. I also finished this one. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's not completely true. I still have the acknowledgements left, which is like quite a few pages afterward by someone else. But anyways, We Will Not Cancel Us by Adrienne Marie Brown. This was great. I mean, everything she says like resonates with me. Cute, important read, kind of about cancel culture within movements and in a relationship to transformative justice. I've like dog-eared some pages because I didn't have any highlighters, so I'm going to go back and highlight some stuff that I thought like really felt true to me. I did have like this underlying feeling, which I sometimes get when people talk about really transformative work, where I feel like slightly uncomfortable. And I'm always like, where do those feelings come from? Because there's something there within me that I haven't quite dug out to analyze. Because on paper, when I read this, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what we want. But I don't know, I think maybe that's just like a personal thing, maybe. I don't know. just feelings and thoughts about the book. There was a very long intro to this. It was like 1/3 of the book was just explaining what the terminology was going to be and what the rest of the book is, and like the process of like writing these 2 essays. But I think also it was necessary, so it's not really a critique. I want to give it like 4 stars of like just my enjoyment, I guess. Happy I read it. Now I'm just quickly gonna go over like what I did. What did I do here? I did not finish all the prompts because I was trying to do it in 2 weeks, and I'm just not in the quick reading mood right now. So for this one, I have Mom Shorts, a comfort read, which is ironic because I just explained how at parts I felt slightly uncomfortable, but also a comfort read because if you can picture how the transformative justice happens. I will stick by that. I, by the way, really did stretch all the rules of this quite a bit. Slapstick or Lonesome No More, I read for the Shorty Schwartz 70s, 80s book. And then I know it's a little controversial because it's not technically true, and there is another book that would fit this, but I need to fit this in somewhere, okay? So I picked Hoochie Daddy Shorts for this book, Bang Masturbation for People of All Genders and Abilities. Very dry for a spicy read. I interpreted the prompts as I went along. Speaking of spicy reads, so this one, I just had to pick this one for my Pedro Pascal shorts, an unexpected purchase, because this is just not what I usually read. Even cowbots get blue balls. Facts. Then We Are Made of Diamond Stuff by Isabel Wadner. I picked this up for actually a book with water on the cover. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of blue water here. This was excellent. I want to read more of this author's stuff. Their other books sound super interesting too. Then Swimming in the Dark by Tomasz Jodorowsky. I picked 2 prompts for this one. This one is Elizabethan Schwartz, a historical read. Takes place in the 80s. Rain Bear, exclamation point ×9, is Spanx, a book with magic or witchcraft. Not really. Gosh, I really bent all these prompts. I really tried to fit the books in there. These prompts literally could have been anything, and I would have tried to fit them in somewhere. Also excellent. Ugh. And then, of course, Elvira. So happy I got to this. So random that I would pick it up now. But this fulfilled the prompt of half and half shorts. Read a book, then watch the movie. So I'm not going to go over these books. Usually I would give a little rating, whatever, but if you made it this far into the video, then you know what these are about and what my thoughts were on it. I thought it was very successful. I enjoyed this so much, especially with a little scene. Excellent. So comment down below if you participated in Shorty September, what you read, if you found any good books, if you have any recommendations that are more like this type, comment down below. And thank you to Bert and Heather for organizing it. Here are their info. Maybe it's a little bit blurry. Go and follow them. So that's fun. I hope you all have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.